In this Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty 2.0 build guide, I'm going to be teaching you exactly how to play as the Black Momba. This is going to be a poison-based build, and I'm going to be showing you every single thing you need to know, including the weapons you need, the perks, attributes that you're going to be picking on the perk tree, the cyberware that you're going to require, and the gear and throwables that you're going to need to use. The whole playstyle is going to be completely laid out in a timestamped and chapter format. So just go to wherever you need in the video. I really hope you like this, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. So for weapons for this build, it's going to basically go around 3 main weapons. You're going to be using the Blue Fang, the iconic knife. This is an incredible knife, and this is what we're going to be using as our main stealth weapon, and we're going to be hitting a lot of headshots with this. You get a 150% headshot damage multiplier, plus 15 bleeding chance, and plus 45 poison chance. And this is really going to synergize with the perks, which I'm going to be talking about a bit later. The second thing you're going to have is the Mandalorian Arms 3516. This is Johnny Silverhand's iconic pistol. It has a 150% headshot damage multiplier, incredible damage just by base, and plus 25% armor penetration. And the third thing we're going to be using is the iconic Overwatch. This is one of the best sniper rifles in the game. You have a plus 300% headshot damage multiplier and a plus 50% armor penetration. Another thing I wanted to note is if you want to trade out one of the pistols actually for another knife, your best bet is they're going to be going for the Headhunter, which is another absolutely incredible knife. And a lot of times I'll be running this. I'll be running the Blue Fang and the Headhunter versus the Mandalorian Arms, but both options are incredibly good, and I would highly recommend each. It just depends if you want to go for a more melee-oriented playstyle or more knife with gun assistance playstyle. What this looks like in practical gameplay is you're going to be going in with your Blue Fang and trying to get headshots. You're going to be throwing poison nades, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the consumables section. But basically, you're going to be going in there, throwing your Blue Fang, throwing poison nades, overloading them with contagion, which is another really, really great thing we're going to be talking about a little bit later. And then when that fails, you're going to be rolling back to your Mandalorian Arms and your Overwatch to take out enemies from a distance and hit them with incredible headshot. This whole build is centered around cool, so you can have very, very high cool and very, very high Headhunter. So you're going to be dealing an absolutely outrageous damage for any headshot, either melee or ranged. So now we get to the perk tree and attribute section of the video. Let's talk about attributes first. The most important attribute to dump for this whole build is into the cool. So you want to get this up to level 20 ASAP. This is the #1 thing. You should be dumping every single attribute point you get throughout the game into cool until you max this at 20. And then you can go into other trees. I would personally recommend reflexes, but you can also go into intelligence and do more cyber hacking and smart weapons and things of that nature. Touching on the Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty only relic tree, the only thing I would really be going for here is vulnerability analytics. I think this is super, super good. It basically makes it where you can have a secondary site for getting extreme crits. So this is super, super good. So I have vulnerability analytics and machine learning, but this isn't very important. And if you don't have Phantom Liberty and you're just working with 2.0, this build will work just fine, even though I'm primarily gearing this towards Phantom Liberty players. So once you get your attributes up, and I will say actually skill level wise, you need to have about level 25 to 28 to make this build realistically work. I'm at level 33. You don't need to be that high level, but you do need to be about level 25 to make this work. Once we get into the actual skill progression here, you're going to be taking everything on the right hand side of cool. So starting at Killer Instinct and Feline Footwork and working all the way up to Style Over Substance. It's really important for this build to work out the way I'm showcasing it, to have Style Over Substance. This is an amazing legend tier perk. You get guaranteed critical hits when throwing weapons, when crouch sprinting, sliding, dashing, or dodging. You're going to be moving a lot in this build, and you're going to be moving almost always in a crouch stance. So realistically, this is incredibly good. Like I said in how the build actually plays, primarily you're going in with your Headhunter and your Blue Fang. You're trying to get stealth headshots with melee weapons and basically stack poison and blind damage. And then you get to a situation where if it does turn nasty and enemies are alerted, then you pull out your Mandalorian Arms and your Overwatch. So remember, guys, start all the way here at the bottom right, and I would work all the way to the top here on the right side of cool. And that's pretty much all you need to know. Realistically, after this, it's all up to you. But really, to make this build work, all you need to do is get every single perk here in the right side of cool. So now we're getting on to the Cyberware portion of the build. And basically in Cyberware, I'm going to be showing you exactly what the layout should be. I would say one of the most important upgrades you can actually have in Cyberware now is the reinforced tendons. This is amazing because you get that double jump in midair. There's so many times that you need elevation on enemies or you need to be able to actually move around. I would really recommend getting this and then increasing it up to at least tier 4 plus. This is an incredible Cyberware. Now your armor is actually tied into Cyberware, so it's no longer tied to clothing like it used to be in 1.0 and earlier patches of the game. For hands, I would get the shock absorbers. It's really important to have as many of these as possible cool attuned. So when you get them to be cool attuned, they're going to have 0.0, 0.2 headshot and weak spot damage per attribute point. So obviously, since we maxed out cool, we're getting a lot of bonus headshot percentage and weak spot damage. So this is going to make us hit like a truck every single time we throw a knife. So for the optics, I would go with the Kiroshi Sentry optics. I don't think this is super important, honestly, guys. You can pick whatever optic you really like here. Operating system, I personally am using the Raven Micro Cyber MK2. I find this to be an incredibly good cyber deck. But ultimately, again, this is a little bit more up to your personal preference. We're going to be spreading contagion. There's one or two things we're going to actually be using this for. But realistically, this isn't the prime focus of the build. But I do really like the Raven Micro Cyber MK2. For the integumentary system, this is quite important. You're going to need a lot of armor. Personally, I would have liked to have all of these cool tuned, but what I ended up with is the tier 4 plus cyberdermal armor. So this gives me 44 armor, which is really, really good. Then I get the range guard, which this is cool tuned, so you're getting more percentage headshot and weak spot damage. This gives me 34 armor. And then I'm getting my nano plating. This is again cool tuned. So two of these three are cool tuned. They're all tier 4 plus, so quite good stuff. In terms of the actual nervous system stuff, you want to get stuff that slows down time and is cool attuned. That's going to be really good where if you're almost getting detected, you can kind of slow down time and get that extra headshot in and hopefully not get detected. So I use the Synaptic Accelerator. This is a really good nervous system cyberware. I really like this. And I use the Tyrosine Injector. So that's, again, successful takedowns grant plus 17.5 headshot damage, plus 9% movement speed, and it's cool attuned. You're starting to get the picture. Try to make as many things cool attuned as possible. Get them as high of tier. Personally, in terms of skeleton, I get bionic joints, which is just going to give me more armor. That's really all it's about. And I get titanium bones because one thing that I find very annoying in Cyberpunk is that a lot of times you run out of carrying capacity. So this gives me plus 54% carrying capacity. Arms, I would definitely go with the monowire. Now there's several different types of monowire. There's electric monowire, there's thermal monowire. Really cool stuff, so pick whatever you like the best there. But I really do think the monowire is one of the best things you can get in the arm slot, and I really like it. In terms of my frontal cortex, I just go with a very simple cyberware here to increase my RAM so I can cast contagion a little bit more. Nothing super special here, and honestly, this is total preference. As you see, I'm pretty much maxed out here without the Edge Runner perk. When I get up to higher levels and get close to level 50, I'll get Edge Runner and then basically be able to max out all these slots. You're going to notice there's nothing in the circulatory system, and that's primarily because we have so low attributes in body that you're not going to really be able to install almost anything here that's worth anything or is any good. So hopefully that explains all of your cyberware. And remember, just get as many cool attuned parts as absolutely possible. And definitely remember to get the reinforced tendons. I think this is a really important part of the build. So now we're going on to the consumable section and showing you exactly what you need for consumables. For quick access, the two main consumables I have is the Max Stock MK5. This is basically the best inhaler you can get in the game, in my opinion. You get 116 health immediately back instead of an overtime thing. So this can absolutely save your life if you're burning, on fire, poisoned, you have status ailments. This can be incredibly good. I think this is just a really great thing to keep in your quick access. The second thing I have equipped is the Monodelets Biohazard Grenade. This basically applies a toxic cloud and it's an AoE poison stack, basically. It does negative 65 enemy melee damage for 15 seconds and decrease movement speed for 5 seconds and negative 10% the stamina to anybody that stands inside of it. It has a 4-meter blast radius and a duration of 8 seconds. This is fantastic, in my opinion, one of the best grenades in the game, and I absolutely love this, especially on this build. And then when we're actually looking inside of our cyberware, the main cyber hack that I would do is the contagion. So this is a tier 4 combat quick hack. It does 28 damage a second from chemical damage, duration 8 seconds, and upload time is only 2 seconds. And it basically spreads poison to 4 or more enemies. This is incredibly good, and in a build that is primarily focused on poison like the Black Mamba, this is the #1 quick hack that you're going to be using. Most of these others, I have Memory Wipe, I have Suicide, I have Short Circuit, and I have Cyberware Malfunction. Really, I would say Short Circuit probably is the best one other than this because it deals damage to mechs. I would say also it'd be nice to have Ping. I would probably put Ping on here. I've currently disabled it here because I really didn't need it, but I think for a lot of people, Ping can be extremely good, so I would recommend you pick that up. And that's basically it, guys. I really hope you liked the build. I hope this was really informative. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next Cyberpunk video. I really hope you enjoyed this.